Today, Road America is the site of rounds 9 and 10 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. The first half of the season has produced a simply superb fight between two young stars on the rise and a seasoned veteran. Now, Elliott Skier, Jesse Lazar, and Angel Benitez Jr. resume their hard-fought battle for the Platinum Cup Championship as the only drivers to take overall wins. Skier and Lazar have been the dominant leaders in the Platinum Cup race since the opening 2 rounds at Sebring, where Lazar finished first and Skier finished second in rounds 1 and 2. But Benitez rejoined the series in rounds 5 and 6 with overall wins and finished runner-up in rounds 7 and 8. While Benitez has more career Platinum Cup wins than any other driver, Skier and Lazar refuse to let the veteran outperform them. Who will outshine the others as the second half begins? We find out next. Hello everybody and welcome to one of the most daunting and delightful tracks, America's Nürburgringer as they call it, America's National Park of Speed for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw for the call on this extraordinary circuit, a driver's favorite throughout the field, and of course with the crowd as well. Beautiful day, cool temperatures, a little hazy, but a delightful day to go racing, and 2 different classes will be running as well. First, the Platinum Cup class, and the difference between the cars is subtle, but there are differences. The Platinum class, the 2014 to 2015 Porsche 991 platform, and you can tell with black number panels, side mirrors, and the windshield banner. Now, for a Gold Cup car, 2010 to 2013 997 platform machines, and you can see there a gold number panel, side mirrors, and the sides of the windshield banner. The performance differences between the two, subtle but important. And as always on these weekends, a doubleheader, so let's get to some highlights from round 9. And off from the pole was Jesse Lazar, but a great move, as he seems to do this year, Angel Benitez, picking his spot up right at the start underneath Lucas Catania and grabs second spot. Meanwhile, Mosing from the pole in gold and Gold Masters, able to lead away early. Lazar had built up a nice lead. You can see Benitez there, but a few seconds adrift, but then a caution on the restart. Benitez, huge opportunity, dives to the inside at turn 3 and takes the lead. But Jesse Lazar was not done. Here's the race call from an unbelievable move. Now he's cutting underneath.
No,
what a move!
Oh, the touch coming out of the carousel. Have you ever seen that happen here before?
I've been announcing races at Road America for a long time. I've never seen that before. Meanwhile, Elliott Skier, who had qualified well, but after post-qualifying tech had to start at the back, augured his way through the field to a point-saving third. So at the line, Lazar over Benitez and Elliott Skier, unbelievable drive. For Mosing, a very successful run, put a couple of platinum cars between himself and Ducati and Marchiano, and that's how they brought it home. So now, as we take a look at the points after that 9th round of the championship, that drive by Lazar brought him within 3 points of Skier. It could have been a lot worse for Skier, but it was an amazing drive for him. And as you can see, Benitez already up to 5th after missing the first 3 events. In the gold class, Mosing a big lead over Marchiano, but Catania, that's Joe Catania, the dad of Lucas, is closing in with David Ducati and Wayne Ducati, rounding out the top 5. So that sets the stage for the 10th round of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama Championship, and it couldn't unfold at a better place. America's National Park of Speed. Fast, daunting, corners where a driver can make a difference. When we come back, we go green. Stay with us. Hi everybody and welcome back to Road America as we get set for round 10 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. The field out on their final pace lap. You can see starting to build a little heat in the tires, in the brakes, getting ready for that key start. With that, let's take a look at the starting lineup. Jesse Lazar, where he wanted to be, on pole over Benitez, Catania and Coleman alongside. Big story there is Elliott Skier. After getting his qualifying times thrown out for both of these events this weekend, he had to set a time in the race in round 9, and boy did he, 6th best. That's going to pay huge dividends for him. Now we take a look as well at the gold class, Jeff Mosing on pole there, and then you'll see David Ducati, who won both of these races last year over Jeff. That's the big story. Then Joe Catania sitting in 3rd. So the field now set up side by side through the final turn. A beautiful 24 Porsche field headed toward the green flag, John.
Oh, fantastic looking grid. Out of sight of the starter stand now, so they'll be waiting for the guys to call the green for them. And We're watching outside. Eric Vega has the green flag in hand, and he waves it with some vigour, and we're racing in round 10 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. And the pole sitter gets away well, and once again, Angel Benitez Jr. making the best of the starts from everyone else, drops into second position. This time does not have to make that big dive up the inside. And everyone through the first 10 at least has got through the first corner. Sitting in third position, Lucas Catania for NGT Motorsport. Then Casey Kuhlman. So that's all as they started. Andrew Long in the blue Porsche in there as well. Elliott Skier got a decent start, held his position, I believe, as they go up towards the brow and head down to turn number 5 on lap 1 of 45 minutes, Jeremy.
And the first two made a pretty good break there already over the rest of the field. Into third place there comes Lucas Catania holding off Casey Kuhlman. Behind Casey Kuhlman is Elliott Skier, who's got past Andrew Long. But the first two here pulled away 3 or 4 car lengths already. It was a great start by Jesse Lazare, and absolutely no need to defend at the first corner from Angel Benitez. And Benitez, having missed the first 3 races of the season, the last 5 races, that's 2 wins and 3 second place finishes. So really stout performances by the Venezuelan, driving for that JDX Motorsports team, the Hertz coloured entry, black and gold. And around the carousel they come on lap 1. It is Lazare who leads, the Canadian from the Venezuelan, from Lucas Catania from upstate New York. Casey Kuhlman in the 4th position.
Yeah, and nice and clean at the start. That's good news for everybody. The guys settling themselves down into a rhythm. And Elliott Skier just needs to repeat the sort of drive he did yesterday, without having to pass 20-odd cars, of course, as they go down to Canada Corner for the first time. And everybody being very respectful this Sunday morning, as this 10th round of the championship then on the 4.038 mile circuit, 4.048 mile circuit, is coming to complete its first racing lap of the Sunday event. And it is Jesse Lazare from pole position with a decent lead, a comfortable lead, as he goes across the line from Angel Benitez Jr. Then Catania, Casey Kuhlman in 4th position, 21, 05, 28 and 15, your top 4. And the big battles are for further down positions inside the top 10. And good news for Jeff Mosing, just in 11th position, our GT3 Gold class winner, the 01, in 11th position, Greg Krim.
Yeah, he is, and once again, he's been able to get a slew of those platinum cars between himself and David Ducote in the number 6 running in 2nd, and that's the buffer that he used to such great effect yesterday. It was whittled down as the race unfolded, but he still had it there at the end. And Mike Shine took a big look at trying to duck around Andrew Long heading up into turn 1, but Andrew now, as they get down into turn number 5, able to hang on to that 6th spot right now, and Will Hardiman is starting to mount a serious attack for 8 on the back of Santiago Creel. There's a look, the 47 there, Long, that bright blue fall line machine. And there he comes into view, and right behind him Mike Shine having a very solid run, then Creel and Hardiman having their own good battle there as well. It'd be interesting to see, guys, for Lucas Catania. He had that great pace yesterday, but then had a couple of offs that really cost him some momentum. See what he's able to do. And once again, Jeremy, we saw played out to perfection here, Elliott Skier, that the attention to those fast laps in that race yesterday got him a much better start than he would have had otherwise.
Yeah, very much so. And now we're trying to find a way past his teammate Casey Kuhlman. Those 2 Wright Motorsports cars, with the sort of red front balances on the cars and primarily white behind that, with different names on the sides of the cars, but they are absolutely nose to tail there in the 4th and 5th positions. Is Casey Kuhlman, the best of the Masters contenders, in the 4th place there, and Elliott Skier runs wide on the exit of the Canada Corner, does a good job to keep that under control and keep the momentum as well.
Yeah, the backside of that curb over there, John, you hit it at just the wrong angle and it can launch you big time, and he had a bit of a wiggle, but he saved it.
So coming up the hill for the completion of round number 2, Jesse Lazare, who last time around had pretty much a second lead over Angel Benitez Jr.
And John, that margin now down to 0.6 of a second as Benitez starting to find some pace. This is starting to heat up here in round 10. We'll be right back to Road America. Jesse Lazar continues to lead Angel Benitez and Lucas Catania here at Road America in this 10th round of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Points leader Elliott Skier has worked his way up into the 5th spot. And there in that bright gold and burgundy car is Jeff Mosing, leading in gold and gold masters with the platinum car of Patel right behind him. But while we were gone, a couple of incidents unfolded. First of all, the number 52 of Kurt Fizakis there, the orange machine, at the exit, well, really the apex of turn 3, just got into the back of the 56 of David Baker and sent David spinning off to the inside. Fortunately, off to the inside was where he wanted to go with the field bearing down on him. Then a little bit later, the number 6 of David Ducote trying to come up through the gold category, a little bit too aggressive and gets into the side of the number 40 and gives him a big hit. That was Charlie Putman, one of the Masters drivers, and just was able to sneak around John Getz and not get him involved. But as we watch Mosing heading up the hill, again, that's a platinum car he's got between himself and his pursuer in the sense of David Ducote, who had that big moment. But up front, we're watching the great pace, Jeremy, by those two young guns, but it's a Masters guy. He's fastest.
But the fastest lap on that last time around was indeed Casey Coolman in car number 50 in the 4th place car. 1 minute 13.591, fractionally quicker than our race leader Jesse Lazar. Looking here at the 0-1 car, that is our Gold Cup leader Jeff Mosing, really doing a fine job. It's the oldest car in the field. It's a 2010 Porsche 997. I saw him last night. He drove also in the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. He won the Gold Cup yesterday in the GT3 Cup Series and then finished on the podium also in the Canadian Tire Sports Car Challenge, in the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge, excuse me. He told me last night he is planning on moving up into the platinum category for next year in this championship.
He certainly is capable. It'd be great to see him up at that level, and certainly is deserving. And it was interesting when I was during that Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge race, when he started, Mosing did, and I was chatting with the finishing driver, Eric Foss, and he said, yeah, Jeff's running the GT3 Cup race before that. He said that just allowed him to go to the front. He knew exactly what the track conditions were and adapted to them beautifully. Good battle here. The number 70, that's Wayne Ducote, as we said, second in the Gold Cup category in that blue number 70 from Kelly Moss with the yellow stripe. And right on his 6th, a young driver, is only his 2nd start, and as he learned a bunch from round number 9 yesterday to today, Jeremy, Dore Čepanik in that number 79, right in the middle of a superb battle here for 2nd in Gold Cup, sandwiched between a couple of real experienced drivers, Wayne Ducote and the number 24 of Joe Catania, the orange and black NGT machine.
Yeah, that is a really fun battle going on there, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Absolutely nose to tail with those cars. It is Jeff Mosing well out in front in the Gold Cup category, but Wayne Ducote, what a good job he does. Kind of a 70 on that blue and yellow machine because he is 70 years old. And if you're driving like that at the age of 70, my hat's off to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's impressive.
Would that I was driving that well now, frankly. I'd be quite happy with that. Oh, it's down at turn 5.
Kurt
The
Fizakis.
Kurt Fizakis 52, bright orange car. Well, if you can't be at the front, get on TV somehow. And he's gone off backwards there. A few years ago, there wasn't any gravel there. He might have got away with that. But he's beached that car. The back wheels are deeply in the gravel.
Yeah, and without the gravel, he'd probably been in the fence.
Well, that's
actually.
true, yes. Is that the lesser of two evils then?
Around he goes.
Yeah.
That's
Looks
just
like he was pretty much on his own there. He was running in the 13th place, a little bit of about a 2nd behind Wild Bill Belichewski. But Kurt Fizakis making a mistake and slowing off backwards, stuck in the gravel. He's not going to get that car out of there without some assistance.
I do love the attention to detail on these race cars that have the full enamel, full colour Porsche Stuttgart crest on the centre lock wheel nuts.
Yeah, I think the engineers and marketers at Weissach known for not missing a thing. Well, guys, we have a full course caution, and remember what happened in round 9. Had a change of the lead on the restart, so that's what we may be looking forward to here when we come back to Road America under caution. For the cleanup for Fizakis, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Lights are out on the pace car as we get into the final 30 minutes of racing here at Road America for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. 10th round of the championship. Lazar leading Benitez and Catania. Points leader Skier still there in 5th. That's not enough to hang on to that lead. This is how close this is. Mosing continues to lead in gold. as we are now at that point of the track where they are instructed, you maintain the speed you're running, the pace car will accelerate away, which means we are getting ready to go back to racing. And gentlemen, we've seen big things happen on these restarts before, and even though we've had a caution here, there's plenty of racing yet to go as this field heads back to green, John.
So we had 10.5 minutes, nearly 11 minutes of green flag racing. We've lost about 5.
Yeah, so still got half an hour to go.
Yeah, still plenty of time to have some fun.
Oh, and that's not good.
Spin on the exit of the final corner, Greg.
Bill Belichinsky, wasn't it?
Everybody able to evade. Yeah, I couldn't get the number on that. I think you may be right.
Bill.
And boy, that was a great piece of evasive driving as the field streaming now down into one. Lazar able to hang on. And I think one of the reasons Benitez didn't try too much was because if he'd done anything, Lucas Catania was ready to pounce. And everybody just stayed line astern as they headed through turn 1.
It's Jay Patel, I think,
yes.
actually.
You're right, yep.
Jay Patel in the same part of the field and a very similar looking car, Jeremy, in your defence, with the dark rear end and the white front end. Jay Patel, the 00 car, just didn't get enough heat into the Yokohamas. The lead is down towards turn 5. Jesse Lazar in the middle of the circuit. That's fine, he's defending his position. Going to get a little bit of gravel on the exit here from where our spinner, Kurt Fazekas, rejoined earlier, but they've all negotiated that up the hill towards turn 6 under the Corvette bridge. First, second and third, Lazar, Benitez Jr., Catania, 21.05 and 26, absolutely as one. 12 wheels of Porsche heading down the hill to turn 8.
Yeah, how fun is this? And when I talked to Jesse Lazar yesterday, he gave every bit of credit to the crew at Kelly Moss. He said that car, once I got the a few laps on the tires, he said it was just magic, and he was able to make that move. He said, I felt I was quicker than Benitez. That opportunity came with that amazing over-under move in the carousel, and he said the car was just hooked up. I could pretty much put it anywhere I wanted. That's the kind of day you like to have. But today, Benitez certainly seems to have the pace, at least to hound him. Catania right in that mix. Coleman still awfully impressive there, 4th overall.
Incidentally, Kurt Fazekas did come past. It was 2 minutes 18.8 on the
all right,
green
so
flag.
he's still got a bit to go. Still pretty good. Still got a bit to go to get his fastest lap. So,
not a bad effort though. He's still probably getting some of the gravel out from under.
Minute 22 down on the leader, so he's got a bit to make up before he even gets onto the back of the field. He's got about a minute to catch up on the back end of the field, which is Jay Patel at the moment, as the leaders come back towards us. Jeremy stands to fill in his lap chart. That lead just fluctuating between 6, 7, 8 tenths. Benitez Jr. now is the one that is under threat for second place, as Lucas Catania had a sort of a look out. It was almost one of those that you say, I'm going to stick my nose out here just to let the guy ahead, Greg, know that I'm here.
Yeah, you just, get in his mirrors, try and get in his mind a little bit, maybe have him just miss a turn in by a smidge. Lucas gave it a good go. Benitez having none of it, but Jesse Lazar, that lap 3/10 quicker than Benitez, and he has stretched that margin out, and he's got enough of a lead coming out of 3 now. He isn't going to be under threat into 5, which means he doesn't have to protect, which means he'll be quicker through and out of it. That's how that works. Anytime you protect, you're actually stealing speed. Just because you're making those angles a lot tighter, you can't carry the speed.
And we saw in round number 9 that Jesse Lazar, very, very quick, but just takes him a lap or two to get up to speed normally. He's addressed that today because he did lose the lead in round 9 on a restart to Angel Benitez Jr. It took him a couple of laps to get it back, and then he just drove away, but he's clearly addressed that today, a little more aggressive on the restart, and he's consolidated that lead now to nearly 7 tenths of a second.
And from the lead guys, he's got an opportunity to really work that tire management, which is a key to success in this series. Great looking cars, talented drivers, and a lot more racing yet to come in round 10. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Road America. All eyes on Elliott Skier, the first of those 2 Wright Motorsports cars in the frame right now here in the 10th round of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Points leader coming in, finally has been able to find his way around that guy, Casey Coleman, in the Cool Sport number 15, handily leading the Masters category in Platinum. And he always shoots for top fives overall. That's where he sits. But Skier has been able to get by him. That is huge in terms of the points. He needs to keep moving up if he wants to hang on to that point lead. But from here on, those passes get tougher and tougher. He's got his work cut out for him, Jeremy.
Yeah, nice pass, smart move. Up into 5th place now. He's going to 4th place now, I should say. His next target is going to be Lucas Catania in that NGT Motorsports car number 26.
And he's closed down on him very quickly indeed in that last, what, half a lap or so since they came out of the carousel. So Elliott Skier now, dander up for the championship leader. Jeff Mosing leads the gold category. How many times have we said that this year? Well, pretty much every single race, I think, bar Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, where he had to fight his way through the pack and didn't quite get to the front of the field.
Exactly, and the interesting story in gold, with that caution, David Ducote, who you remember had been second, it dropped back to 6th, is now back into 2nd in front of the 24 of Joe Catania, Lucas's dad, in the 24 entry. And the other part of the story is now there's 2 less platinum cars between Mosing and David Ducote, and Ducote running a 2:16.2 to Mosing's 2:17. So Ducote has some pace right now, and we'll see what he's able to do. There is a look at Wayne Ducote now, has slipped back into the 4th spot.
Blue and yellow car going through turn 1 down the hill. And just a couple of cars ahead. Joe Catania in the NGT Works colours, really. They are their team colours, certainly. Yep. They have made those bright orange and black, or at least some style around that. They've made those truly their own over a number of periods, a number of different classes of racing.
That car just going out of the bottom of the screen with that sort of psychedelic paint job on the nose is Ducote, the David Ducote of the Ducotes, and he now, as I said, sits 2nd just in front of the 24 there of Joe Catania. And Joe having a good run, though, that's for sure, looking for a podium here in the Masters and Gold Masters category.
Absolutely right, Greg. And David Ducote, having made up for the mistake on the 3rd lap, is now back up to the 2nd place in that class. But new fastest lap of the race last time around for our race leader, Jesse Lazare, 2 minutes 13.517 by well, less than a tenth over Casey Coolman. But the other 2 guys, Angel Benitez and Lucas Catania and Elliott Skier, all within a couple of tenths of a second as well. It's really tight at the front. Having said that, Lazare is breaking away just a little bit from Benitez.
This last lap, I mean, he was 3/10 quicker last time through, and he's found even a little bit more, it looks like. This time he is really starting to maybe put his stamp on this race. We saw him at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park drive those races that he had with Benitez. They're just an extraordinary job of tire management with speed.
Yeah, the whole mindset of this race when you're at the front is very different from when you're chasing. Really, it looks much easier than it is for Jesse Lazare, because what he's doing effectively is waiting for his pit to tell him what's going on behind him, and he is very adept, possibly one of the best I've seen in any form of motorsport, gentlemen, at being able to respond to the commands and the information that he's getting from behind, because if he needs to go 2 tenths quicker, he goes 2 tenths quicker. If he can back it off a tenth or 2, then he does it, and he seems to be able to respond absolutely to what information is coming to him. The prettiest car on the grid, this is only my opinion, you can argue with me, of course, is that number 40 Charlie Puckman car with the stars and stripes motif and the very clever side decals that make it look like it's almost like a single-seater down the side, the way it curves in front of the rear wheels. It looks like it's got curved bodywork. The first time I saw it go past, I thought, that can't be legal. He's changed the side of the car. But of course he hasn't. It's just a clever bit of artwork and vinyl on the side. Brilliant
really
stuff.
is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really good. And it actually stands pretty close look at it as well, not just the whizzing by that we see here. It's very impressive how that's been done. Mosing Motor Cars with Jeff Mosing. There's another livery that immediately you see those colours, Greg, you know who you're looking at. And gone are the days where Porsche GT3 Cup races were full of all white cars with maybe a few stripes on them.
Yeah, what did you refer to this? Burgundy and mustard yellow or something?
Yeah, rhubarb and custard.
Yeah, there you go. Rhubarb and custard. Great description.
I'm
of
getting
that
old
skiing.
now. I have to remember them somehow.
Hot dog with a bit of mustard and
Well,
ketchup.
yeah, all right, okay.
There you go. Boy, Lazar
Or
looking.
brat, I should say.
Yeah,
Brat.
brought
we're
round
here,
here. Definitely
absolutely.
brought round here. Lazar has just driven another cracking lap, gentlemen. 13.8 last time around against his best of a 13.5. And I'm going to suggest that this one is not going to be too many ticks to the clocks differently. It's mean that while down at Canada corner. Oh dear,
That's
oh
David
dear.
Ducote.
Just after we were talking about him, he's gone straight on at Canada corner. Now, he's managed to get enough purchase in the gravel to get backwards and forwards. He's got a couple of cars lengths to get back onto hard standing. Wow. That's very, very lucky. Careful, don't go straight back on. Now, he was trying to make a pass at the time, Greg, and that was never going to happen. Was that Oscar Arroyo he's trying to go by?
Yep, trying to get underneath Oscar, and he got so far over to the right. There's just very little grip down there. Oscar had run the middle and then moved back, and he went way down, and he was just way too deep. I mean, you barely even saw any lockup. He realized how bad that was.
He must have been thinking those tyres and he were going to make friends, and 56 has got a left rear puncture. Now, that's an unusual thing to see.
Absolutely, that's David Baker.
He had the spin earlier on, didn't he? I wonder if that was part of the issue. He's driving into the pit lane, so that won't cause a problem for the leaders. David was already down in the 21st position.
Yeah, that not had a spin earlier on,
Right.
as you were saying.
And while we've had a couple of interesting moments from a couple of our platinum competitors, for Jeff Mosing in the gold category, in that Mosing Motor Cars top racing entry, continuing to do what he does, lead from the front, and is driving off into the distance. We'll be back to Road America. Jesse Lazar stretching his lead slightly here at Road America in the 10th round of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Benitez second, but here's the battle that really everybody's eyes are on right now as Lazar comes by to complete another lap. But for one, Lucas Catania, after getting his career best qualifying effort as a rookie in the 9th round with a second, backed it up with that third, had a little issue in the 9th round, but has driven brilliantly here, but now has some pretty immense pressure coming up behind him from that Wright Motorsports car. And John, huge points implications for that battle in third.
Lucas Catania has now been caught for third position by Elliott Skier, and Elliott moves into a position where he might be able to challenge, as David Baker has indeed had that left rear Yokohama changed, and he's on his way out of the pit lane. It was a quick stop, and these guys aren't really set up to do that, let's remember. But he has gone a lap back for him, so it'll be a little bit of damage limitation for him in every sense of the word. Car looks absolutely straight. There's a little bit of a rubber mark on the left rear fender, but other than that, the car tracking well, and David will get some more laps around in the last 34 minutes, excuse me, last 15 minutes or so of this battle. Oh, Jeff Mosing! Jeff Mosing, our GT3 gold leader, has gone off at turn 5. And he's got the most part of the way around the corner and then fallen off. That's an unusual place to go off.
Now, the cars that just went through were the cars that were between himself and now Joe Catania. So this now could be a whole different ball game here. If he was able to hang on to the gold class lead, it's not going to be by too much here wherever Joe, there's Joe just flashing through. So he still was able to hang on to the lead. How did that happen?
Just came through the center of the corner a little bit too quickly, rotated on the racing surface when we released the lock and reversed the lock to get off and out of harm's way. Ended up on the grass for a moment, snagged first, and got away quite expertly there, actually.
That'll wake him up.
Yes, it will.
Way out in the lead in the class there, under no pressure whatsoever, and all of a sudden he's going to realise, whoa, I need to focus here.
Yes. He's still even got a car between him and Joe Catania.
That was Baker who just came out of the pit.
Right, so that's a lap car, correct.
That plays out well. But I think you bring up a good point. You know, yesterday, even though Jeff had a huge lead over everybody else in gold, he had Jay Patel and Bill Pelichowski. They were having that great pass, repass battle that really kept him up on the wheel. Today, he had a lot less people around him.
Well, Jay Patel spun coming back to green, and Bill Pelichowski who did get to the green flag, he's dropped all the way down to 19th, so he's had an issue as well. So Jeff's normal playmates in that sort of 8th to 12th sort of area, those guys are normally around that area overall. Well, his normal playmates aren't there for him today, and he's had rather a lonely existence in the first half an hour or so in that middle pack, so that has woke him up.
Back at Road America, things pretty stable in the top two, but this battle for third, with all the points implications, it carries. Oh, and a big lockup. Casey Coleman, the number 15 Cool Sport, right entry, and Andrew Long knifes down underneath, and I think it was the pressure from Andrew that had that happen, and you could see Casey realize he had locked him up fairly early and did the right thing, released the brake and let the car just kind of gather it up, ran a little wide, got it, gathered up, and there you see the pressure maybe getting to Skier in that Wright Motorsports Porsche. As he gets a bit crossed up, John, it's pressure for a lot of guys now.
The 47 of Andrew Long, the blue and black car, just dangling the left front Yokohama as he turns into turn number 8, that downhill left-hander before the short shoot to 9 and 10, which collectively, of course, are the carousel.
10 minutes remaining then in this race. 2 seconds between the two leaders. They're pulling away now from Lucas Catania in third place, who still has his mirrors full of Elliott Skier. And if Lazzara can hang on here and score this victory, it'll be his fourth win of the season. But more significantly, it will move him back into the championship lead ahead of Elliott Skier.
And Elliott knows it. He now has just upped the ante on his attack on Mr. Catania, hasn't he?
You just get the feeling, don't you? Just when you watch a car, you can see it's just being pushed with a little more urgency. I've got to give some credit, though, to Lucas Catania, who is doing exactly the right thing. He doesn't feel the need, because there's not been that challenge, gentlemen, he doesn't feel the need to defend, and therefore his lap times are still pretty good. Another 2:14 last time around, 2:14.6. Yes, he was gained on by 1/10 of a second, but he hasn't seen the nose of Elliott Skier's Wright Motorsport Porsche in his mirrors at all, anywhere that is dangerous enough for him to have to worry about it. So if he's not there, don't compromise your line. Don't make it easy for him.
Well, sometimes, I've said it many times, sometimes the best defense is a good offense.
Yeah.
Just drive, and he's got pace here, so just focus on your marks and try and keep him behind you just on sheer pace, not by starting to compromise lines and driving defensively. And if Elliott is able to run up and make the attack, then you change your doctrine at that point. But right now, Lucas is showing enough speed to just keep racing.
Yeah, definitely his best performance, I would say, this year for Lucas Catania there, running into third place.
Well, he's handling the pressure very well indeed.
He is.
Inside the last 8 minutes now, 8.5 minutes to go. Inside the last 9 minutes with 8.5 minutes to go. And this is the battle on the circuit, and it is for the third position, last step on the podium. Jesse Lazar and Angel Benitez Jr. safe and sound at the moment, bearing any mechanical issues, which frankly are few and far between when you talk Porsche and Yokohama. Those are a pretty reliable pairing. But third position, I'm not putting the house on either of these two guys at the moment, gents.
Oh.
No, the 21-year-old there, Lucas Catania, and the 20-year-old Elliott Skier battling over third and fourth places. Catania just moving into the category, well, both these two rookies in the series this year, and both moving up from MX-5s as well, Mazdas, so they're both doing nicely. But Lucas Catania's best finish prior to this weekend, a 5th place, so looking to score his first podium here.
And now for the first time, Elliott Skier starts to show the nose of the car, and in response, it's the first time we've seen Lucas Catania go slightly defensive. It was into the final corner, turn number 14, slightly compromised his run onto the start-finish straight. He knows it, and he pulls across to driver's right.
And as he does so, John, Skier swings out, thinking he can open the angle up, maybe get a better run out, but it looks as though Catania's got it covered. We'll be back. We return with eyes on this battle for third, and it is still the NGT Porsche of Lucas Catania running wide at the exit of turn 1. He is certainly feeling the pressure from Elliott Skier, but not folding under it yet. What a race they're producing here in this 10th round of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. And Skier has driven very hard from 6th. He's used up his tires, and his pressure on Catania, Jeremy, may have done the same to that car.
Yeah, I fancy what he'd maybe done is perhaps overworked his Yokohama tires a couple of laps ago, and so he felt the grip going away. That's why he needed to defend it. That last time a little bit slower, so it wasn't quite so much intensity onto those tires. I think they've recovered a bit, and so has Lucas Catania.
Meanwhile, we take a look just to keep you in play, folks. Lazar continues to lead, but that margin has shrunk down to a 2.5 seconds now as Benitez has uncorked a couple of laps 2 to 3 tenths quicker than Lazar as we're into our final 4 minutes.
I think time's going to be on the side of Lucas Catania, and Jeff Morsing is off again, and he's done damage this time. There's a bit of bodywork. In fact, the front splitter has come away, and that is coming out of turn number 3. Now, surely he hasn't held on to the gold class lead this time. Coming down into turn 3, just loses the back end early. He's got the opposite lock on, steering into the skid exactly as you need to do, but he was just a little bit too quick, and Oscar Arroyo goes by him.
I wonder if he's having some brake issues, and he's got the brake bias twisted back a little bit, and because that just started to lock up right as he would have been trailing into the corner. And this track, I mean, it is brutal on brakes when you're racing hard.
He did have a lead of about 7 seconds over Lucas Catania, but I think that spin would have cost him more than that.
Joe Catania, yeah. I think Joe's gone through because that's Jay Patel right behind him.
Yeah.
So I think he was battling with Oscar Arroyo, and I think he'd gone by Oscar actually in the early part of that lap, and then thrown it away at turn number 3. So for my money then, I think we'll find that Joe Catania at the end of the lap will be scored as our gold category leader.
What a story that's going to be.
Yeah, no kidding.
Meantime, the battle for 3rd and the final step on the podium with Lucas Catania. Ooh, dad and son on podium. That's a decent headline.
Absolutely.
Got to hold on from Elliott Skier though, and Elliott's still just unable to put a big move on that 3rd place Porsche ahead of him.
And by the way, Lazar responded beautifully to Benitez's pace. He just uncorked a lap 4 tenths quicker and solidified that hold.
He's just remarkable.
He really is.
Well, Jay Patel comes round to turn number 14 with Mosing behind him, and they're going past us now and across the line, and we'll have it confirmed on the timing screen in front of us. Joe Catania, the NGT Porsche, goes through in 13th overall, but importantly, the number 1 next to him as class leader in the gold category.
And his last 3 races, he had a 3rd place finish at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, followed by 2nd place finish, and then yesterday, a reasonable run yesterday as well, but potentially now that first win in gold cup category for Joe Catania.
Yeah, and it's a good 9 seconds, the gap now between Joe and Mosing. And Mosing's fast, but I don't know if he's that fast in a minute and a half.
And that little rubber splitter that goes underneath the front valance is so important, so expensive as well. Yeah. As anybody who's run Carrera Cup will tell you in the past, they are quite a crucial piece of the front aero in getting the car to turn in. Coming down to the last minute, should see the white flag, I think this time around, indeed it is in hand. And again, Angel Benitez Jr. turns up the heat a tiny bit. As Jesse Lazar leads them through. Dennis Paul with the finger and the flag raised in the nicest possible way for the Kelly Moss Motorsport driver, Jesse Lazar. This, Greg, has been a little less dramatic for Jesse today.
It has been, and a little more frustrating, I would think, for Angel, because at least he was able to give Jesse a serious race yesterday. Today, he just hasn't quite been able to answer it, but obviously still a very, very solid second. And we're looking here at the 24. What a great story if Joe Catania can hang on here. But his son, Lucas, breakout race, I think, breakout weekend for Lucas, really showing us some stuff here. And if he can hang on over Elliott Skier, the point leader, that's massive.
Yeah, but how cool is that? Because Lucas is having his greatest race ever, and his dad's going to go, yeah, but I won.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
Still
right,
gets
son.
family honours.
That's right, son. Where were you finished?
Yeah.
Third. Oh.
See my trophy? Mine's bigger than yours.
And here comes the white flag for Joe Catania, your Gold Cup leader, starting his last lap. There is his son, Lucas. Ooh, just heard a lot of lockup, and that was either
Angel
Lazar or Benitez.
Yeah, it was Angel Benitez Jr. down to turn number 8. Well, if Catania can keep his head around him for the next couple of miles, it's about halfway around the circuit now, coming out of the carousel, probably a bit more than that, actually. He's going to stand on the podium. And that is going to be a big family celebration, isn't it?
He's actually eased away from Skier
I think
now,
he has,
hasn't
you're right, Greg, yeah. And Andrew Long closed in to under a couple of seconds, and he'll be frustrated at that as well, because he can see that position on the podium. At the head of the field, Angel Benitez Jr. has given it absolutely everything, and Jesse Lazar has once again driven a beautifully paced race, coming through to turn number 14. The team may be a little worried if they're seeing the same pictures as us, that he's allowed Benitez Jr. to get within, it's going to be under half a second, I would say, by the time they get the line. But it is going to be round 10 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. USA by Yokohama, Jesse Lazar stands atop the podium and cleans up on the Road America weekend from Angel Benitez Jr. in second. Third place, and a big celebration over towards his team on the pit wall for Lucas Catania. And Elliott Skier points leader in fourth. That's very good.
Both Catanias, father and son, up on the podium. We've seen it before with the Dakotas, with David and Wayne. Not going to happen today, but what a story for the Catania family. Here he comes, Joe Catania.
Coming through to Canada corner. He's got a couple of turns to go. Unusual to say that Jeff Mosing had an off day today. He certainly did, but there's no asterisk next to the result, Jeremy. And Joe Catania was there, and he will pick up the win.
Yeah, it was a 2-off day, wasn't it, for Jeff Mosing? He's under pressure now.
Well, this is
from
for
David Ducote. That is for the second
place
position in the class.
No doubt at all about Catania's win in the gold category. It's all going to be, as his hands are off the wheel, he's punching the air. Love the passion. And Jeff Mosing just hangs on by about a car's length from David Ducote. Both of those guys recovering from slightly off days. Round 10 then of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Yokohama. USA by Yokohama is in the history book, and even on the last lap, a problem for Dan Whalen. The bright green machine has gone into the barriers.
Those two across the line side by side. That was Wayne Ducote and Dorian Truponic Jr. Absolutely, completely side by side.
Well, congratulations to Jesse Lazar. A complete whitewash for him this weekend. He's taken the second victory. It's round 10 in the history books, as I say, from Benitez Jr. and Catania. Lucas in gold, it's Catania. Joe from Jeff Mosing, just from David Ducote.
Exceptionally close racing in both of the divisions in the Masters category to boot. When we come back, we'll hear from the winners. Jesse Lazar brings his Garaga Kelly Moss Racing Porsche in to the victory circle area where the TV cameras are staged here at Road America in this 10th round of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. His 4th win of the season, and that is now going to put him into the point lead. It was a race that didn't come easy, obviously. Lots of pressure from behind. Let's hear from our winner.
Benitez put that pressure on me right from the start. He decided to get a little smart and start using his high beams, and that outgave me just to push harder. And that's actually when I lost him, and it was a good restart, and I just kept not making mistakes, and it was good.
Well, that team based nearby, they ran here last weekend in a different series in a Porsche. It paid off. As we take a look at our results, Lazar, Benitez, Catania, his best finish as a rookie. What a day for him, and to share the podium with his dad, who after, check this one out, 6 top 5s, gets his first podium. And what is it? It's a win, beating the runaway leader in the class, Jeff Mosing. That's a pretty good day for Joe Catania. And as he climbs into victory circle, let's get down and hear from him.
Well, it was really an unbelievable race from start to finish. I had a terrible start. I went from whatever position I gridded into dead last, I think. I just couldn't get a run, and little by little we worked through. I just decided to take one competitor at a time and just keep the pressure on and stay focused. And I knew it was a long race and a lot of things changed. So you let attrition work for you. Some guys took themselves out, which made my life a lot easier. And then one or two at a time, I attacked and managed to kind of get by a couple more, and somehow or other, by the end of the race, they were telling me I went from P3 to P2 to P1, and then it was over. But I think the biggest thing was consistency. I drove fairly even lap times, never super fast, but never really ended with a critical mistake. It's kind of the story of the tortoise and the hare.
And I think the critical mistake, not making one, that's a big thing. Let's take a look at the points in the Platinum class. That now, with that sweep, Jesse Lazar, 3 points clear of Elliott Skier. Casey Coleman leading Masters comfortably, but third overall. That's impressive. But notice Benitez up into fourth after missing the first 3 events. He's been a point-scoring machine. In the Gold and Gold Masters class, Mosing actually stretches his lead, but Joe Catania moves into second with Ducote dropping back, David Ducote that is. So things changing up a little bit there. Want to remind everybody, the next event on the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama schedule, another wonderful road course on the North Carolina-Virginia border, Virginia International Raceway. So you're not going to want to miss that one. As we take a look at some of the moments of this great weekend of racing here at Road America, a track that produces immense speeds, tremendous challenges, and always, always, always some wonderful close quarters racing. It's been a great round 9 and 10 of the championship. Make sure you join us from VIR, where actually we'll have a third race, the makeup race from NOLA, that got rained out to entertain everybody as well. Make sure and get there in person if you can, but if you can't, join us with our coverage here. So great to have you with us. For John Hindhoff and Jeremy Shaw, I'm Greg Creamer. Thanks for joining us here at America's National Park of Speed. We'll see you next time.